Alright, so finally I'm going to go into more on the pistol itself, go over texturizations and serrations. Starting from the top of the gun, along the barrel or the slide is this cool texturization which actually helps in picking up target acquisition and lining up your sights nice and quick. I'm pretty sure these are available on Walter pistols, and I haven't really seen them anywhere else. Don't quote me on that. The hammer is serrated and it has a cutout in the hammer, which I thought would make... Wait, no, that's so you can see the simulated firing pin right there. I think that's supposed to be the firing pin. But it is texturized so that you can pull it back, pull it down, and you can take a look inside. There is what looks like a firing pin hole thing. This is your safety. This is serrated, and so is the slide on both sides, of course, like any other pistol. Serration helps you put it on safe and decock it. It is serrated on the magazine release button. It's also serrated on the trigger itself, which is very comfortable. The grips themselves have diamond checkered pattern on them, but the grip itself on the handgun is not texturized, just smooth plastic. Other than that, that is the only amount of serrations and texturizations on this pistol. Alright, so from the front of the gun you see you have your blazing orange tip. This is glued on. This is glued on, but it's only glued on at about that point right there. So I tried to break off that glue. Maybe you can melt it, but keep in mind the barrel is made out of plastic too. So you have a blazing orange tip on there. It would look a lot more realistic without it, but I'm gonna leave it on there for now. The slide keeps to a realistic Walter design. You can see your extraction port / chamber and your extractor. Let's look at the inside of the gun, and you can see your nozzle actually stays in place. It doesn't move around, which is actually a pretty good design, and obviously it works really well. Here's a look at your iron sights. They work really well, and I find that acquiring your sights back on target is very easy and very fast with this gun. So that's your rear sight, and that is your front sight. Okay, so you may have saw a glimpse of it earlier, but this gun's safety also works as a decocker. So if you have a BB chambered and a magazine in the gun, you can put it on safe. What this does is it brings the hammer forward, but not forward enough on the real gun to actually strike the hammer. Then you push the safety back up, and this puts the hammer all the way up, and it puts the trigger forward. So now the gun is the way it was before. If you have a BB chambered and mag with gas in it, or a real PPK, to fire off that round in the chamber, you just do it all as one, and that's known as a two-stage trigger. Once the gun is fired, it cycles and it keeps the hammer back. Now your trigger is in the firing position, and so is your hammer, and that is what is known as two-stage. This is how the decocker works. This plate actually rotates like this, and it keeps the hammer from going forward. Then it rotates back, and the hammer comes even closer. Here, look at the weights in the pistol grip. This is a very big, maybe steel or lead weight, and you see it's kind of a thick profile, even though the magazine is kind of small, but it is all really good. Excuse me, the gun actually jammed right there. It's not gonna jam on you. I don't know why. I think I probably need to lube this gun, but I'm not sure what kind of lube to put in it. So if you know, let me know in the comments. But the slide kind of got stuck right there. So how it works is, now that the slide is cocked back, there's no magazine release. There's no slide catch. So you would take out your mag, and you would put in either more BBs, or in real life, or in Airsoft if you have another mag, put in a new mag. Now that you got your new mag, you power stroke it. So the only way to get the slide to go forward is to power stroke. Alright, so now I'm going to show you disassembly. It tells you how to do it in the manual, but it is honestly very tricky. So you want to make sure you're either experienced with disassembling the real gun, or just good with mechanical stuff. So here's how the gun is disassembled. You want to take the trigger guard and pull it down like this. At this point you want to rack the slide and bring it up. So now the gun has been disassembled. So this is the slide. You can see there's only one component. Well, it's obviously not one component, but there's only one. Excuse me, the battery on that piece of shit camera died even though it was fully charged. But this is better anyway, I just lack a tripod. So this is a look at the slide. And I was wrong, this actually does move around, but there's no spring in there, it just kind of goes on its own, really. Hope I didn't break it. Here's a look at the top. Now, this thing right here, this piece of metal, is the slide lock. Be very careful this doesn't come flying out like it did with me earlier. The spring stays on the barrel and the barrel stays in the gun. You can take out the barrel, of course. Now, this thing's battery's dying. You can take out the barrel, but I just recommend you leave all this stuff alone. So that's a look at your inside. And I'm going to charge my iPod and maybe put it on a tripod. And then I will get back to this. Alright, so I'm pretty sure this gun has a fixed top up because there's no dial or anything of that sort in here, and there's a tiny nub inside the barrel. You can see that. Yeah, there's a tiny nub in there. So look at your lower internals. And I have to suggest, don't ever take this gun apart unless it's absolutely necessary. You could trust the gun to work just fine, but it is really tricky to put back together, and a lot of components might pop out, so just leave it alone at all costs. Alright, so I didn't film reassembly because I don't have a tripod for my iPod. But I can say, if you're thinking about buying this gun for actual airsoft use, I wouldn't recommend it. The range is not too impressive, but that could just be because of the BBs I'm using. But there's no hop up for this. Personally, I recommend this more for people who like James Bond, or people who just want to shoot in their backyard. And my experience with this gun so far has been really good. The range is decent. I wouldn't say it's airsoft range, but it's decent. And the follow-up shots are very, very fast. This is the most crisp, fast. It's loud. It's just a really, really good performer. Mostly because it's made out of plastic, and it was made in Japan, so they make really good guns. Obviously, Tokyo Marui. And yeah, I mean, if you really want to airsoft with this, go ahead and do it. But this is a really fun gun to shoot. It's really nice. It fits in your pocket just fine. And the price is a steal for a gun like this. You get that Japanese quality out of a airsoft gun, and I recommend it. So that was my review of the Walter PPK by Maruzen and by Umarex, licensed by Umarex. And I'm going to do a little bit of shooting for you here. Something I wanted to mention is that when the mag is fully loaded, it's a lot tighter fit inside the pistol, so you just gotta push it in there really hard. But it is a lot tighter fit, so just rack the slide and get the pressure off. Now that extra, I think the 22nd BB is now in the chamber. Shouldn't be as tight. Another thing I wanted to mention is that with this gun, you have really, really good recoil. I wouldn't call it recoil, but it's more of a jolt, like a very strong jolt that you could just feel in your hand, very, very strong. One more important thing to note is that you can use this with gloved hands, even with the trigger forward. The trigger is mostly going to be like this, so no problem with gloved hand. Oh jeez. Alright, so there's a round in the chamber. To start shooting, you can either just pull the trigger like this, or you can cock the hammer. Personally, it's more fun cocking the hammer for me. Alright, this is pretty much the length of my entire backyard. There's a bunch of cardboard at the end of it. They're going a little low. A comfortable place to put your thumb is either right here or here. There's no button in the way, it's raised. So you could hold it like that or like that. Personally, this is more comfortable one-handed. And it's more fun shooting this gun with only one hand. Here's a look at the follow-up. Really fast. I'm not going too fast, but you know, it's really good follow-up shots. So I'm about to run out of battery and BBs. So here's a look at the power. Penetrates cans. Penetrates cardboard. And it is out of rounds. So I hope you enjoyed the review of the Walter PPK. I'm going to do PPKS. I'm going to do more reviews, and I'm going to do a little more shooting with this gun, and I'm probably going to sell it because I'm trying to get a VFC SCAR and some other stuff. So please like the video and check out the rest of them.